So after last week's explosive, for more ways than one, Hero-gasm episode, this week we kind of take a step back. It's a bit of a quieter affair. But, it's still the boys, so we still have people getting their heads smashed in, people having sex with aquatic animals, and the most disturbing thing of all, Homelander drinking milk. Just so gross and so unpleasant. I don't know what it is about it, but just him just glugging that milk. Just... Hey guys, I'm Jax, and this is my spoiler review for The Boys Season 3, Episode 7. So once again, Jensen Ackles is absolutely stealing the show as Soldier Boy. Every scene he's in, I'm just loving it so much. Sometimes he's just saying a really, teenage kind of, insult or slur, but it's just, his just pitch-perfect delivery. It's just exceptional. And that costume, my god, him with that shield. Oh god, he looks so good. It's just, I cannot get over, and I cannot stress enough how much I like the visual of Soldier Boy. And just Jensen Ackles, he's such a good looking man. But also a great actor, playing a great character, in a great season of TV. It's just the whole combination of everything. It's making me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Although that could be the 7 coffees I've had today. It's hard to tell at this point. So this episode ends on the craziest cliffhanger. Soldier Boy is a father! Homelander has a dad! Oh, just the feeling, the emotion, I couldn't believe it. I love it. I'm so fascinated to see where it goes next. This totally took me by surprise, but it makes perfect sense. He was essentially original Homelander, so it makes sense. And I don't know. It's really cool to kind of imagine now where they're going to go from it. And I always imagined that Soldier Boy would essentially be, the Stormfront of Season 3, the big bad of Season 3, and he'd be totally taken out at the end of Season 3. But if he's Homelander's father, he's got to be in Season 4, right? This can't just be wishful, I love Dean Winchester, but he's also really good at Soldier Boy, fantasies of me. He's got to be in Season 4 now, right? I don't know. I'm really, really excited. I hope it isn't just a single episode. I just feel like there's suddenly so much to do with this, story beat and this, plot thread. Homelander has been, this guy who's essentially, raised in, a lab, essentially. He's never had, a parental figure. And the idea that Jensen Ackles could be his dad, his papa, it's just, I want to see that. And I don't know. And, because when he was, punching Mind Melter Dude, and he's like, that can't be true, rah, 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 but then we didn't hear what it is, I'm like, oh, a classic mystery box situation where we're going to have to wait till next week to find out what Mind Melter Man said to, Soldier Boy. What did he say? What got him so kind of, Huey betrayed him, and it was just lucky that he got back in time to kill Mind Melter, but he didn't seem to mind. He was like, ooh, this business I've heard, it's serious. And I'm like, oh, the mystery box, it's getting to me. I need to know right now. And then at the end of the episode, for him to call Homelander, because I just thought it would be him calling and being like, next week, I'm going to punch you in the face and kill you. And then Homelander's like, actually, I'll punch you in the face and kill you harder, because it's the finale and I'm going to win, because this is my show. And they'd have a big macho kind of talk off, and it would end being like, next week they're going to punch on. But it's like, Homelander, I'm your papa. Oh, the feels. I cannot wait. I just feel like there is limitless potential for... maybe not. Maybe a season. A season and an episode, I think. But yeah, just really, really excited. I just love the idea as well now, maybe even little Ryan, Homelander, and then Papa Soldier Boy. What a crazy family. I cannot wait to see their family shenanigans take place. I'm very, very excited for that. That's a highlight of the episode for sure. I didn't know I needed in my life Dean Winchester, as a superhero, as a Captain America-esque type, jerking off to a bunch of old ladies on a bed. And then, that Hugh Hefner of this world, or whatever the hell he is, walks in, he goes, this is even too disgusting for my sex pest mind. Get off the bed. Ba, ba, ba. I didn't know I needed it, but I got it. And I'm happy for it. And I'm better off for it. And I presume everyone else is too. So another pleasant surprise this episode is we get Maeve back. And instead of being in some kind of horrific Saw-like trap or, imprisonment camp or something horrendous, where she's lost all her limbs and she's just a torso and a head. And she's like, why are you keeping me alive, Homelander? Just something just horrific. She's just in a very sterile, white boxed prison room. Still a prison, not great. But I don't know, the way they were kind of withholding and everyone's like, where's Maeve? And they're like, she's just in rehab. She's just in rehab. Ashley's doing her classic spin doctor spinny stuff, to the public and being all like, she's in rehab. I was like, I don't want to see what this rehab looks like. That's all I knew. But actually, no, she seems okay. And so That's good. Oh boy, Homelander, he's getting to that point of being like, he's so close to losing his powers, but then with the whole Papa Soldier Boy reveal, will he really want to take Homelander's powers? I hope it isn't like a trick, and he's suddenly that's realized. He's like, Homelander, he's hugging him, he's like, oh father, I love you, and then he goes and takes his powers. I would really just love him to want a son, and his son to, want a father. I want to see that. It's going to be beautiful. I mean, horrific, because they're both, in their own different ways, monsters, but it's still beautiful in like its own horrible way. Speaking of beautiful but also horrible, A-Train isn't dead. I kind of feel silly for thinking he's dead, even though I don't know, that felt like a satisfying way to end his arc, running around and killing a racist and being like, I did it, oh no, my heart, I can't run, I forgot, and he dies. I don't know, it was so satisfying an arc, like the way he killed someone at the start using super speed, and to kill himself, because his heart, by doing super speed, killing someone who deserved it. I don't know, that kind of just felt like a closed arc, and so when I saw him again, initially I'm just like, oh, that's not even a little bit, that's pretty disappointing. I just kind of feel like, okay, he's back, but then there's a classic The Boys thing, and just goes, actually, we're going to trump whatever you thought would be good, Jax, and just give you something you never thought you wanted. And so A-Train has a new heart, a racist heart. The racist he killed. Somehow, when he smushed that guy along the pavement for 10 kilometers or whatever the hell he did, the heart was intact perfectly. Sure. I mean, whatever. It's just a great plot point. It doesn't have to make sense. Or I don't know. I guess he got smushed up, like, right up to the rib cage stopped. It was like, safe in there. Somehow. I don't know. I remember him getting pretty smushed. I can't imagine the heart was okay. But apparently it is. The wonders of science, the doctors and medicine, or whatever. So he's got a racist heart, and I just love how she's like, we're going to make you in a movie with Tom Hanks and all this stuff or whatever. A-Train's back, baby. And just his sigh, just his like, glorious! I love it! So Mr. Mind Melty Man, he looks into his eyes, and he puts Butcher to sleep into a nightmare sequence. And we go through Butcher's, the history of Butcher, and find out that his dad, we knew he was the worst, but he turns out, he's the worst. And the way it cut together, like the way the sequence was presented, was just like that cycle of violence kind of theme throughout the whole thing, and just the way it would just cut between the dad having a beer, and then Butcher as an adult having the drink, and just the way it's like he's tried to break free of it, but has never been able to, and he's really become his, his father's son, and all that kind of stuff. And then with like his brother's suicide, and just, I don't know, that whole sequence, deeply upsetting, really unpleasant, really well like made and produced, but just like a sinking feeling in my stomach where I just like, really upsetting. And I don't know, I don't know if I knew it, and maybe it's just in hindsight I feel like I knew it, but I felt like he wasn't going to snap out of this nightmare and be like, I'm a new Butcher. I'm not going to be a douchebag and a prick anymore. I'm actually going to be a nice guy. I'm going to be like Starlight. I'm going to be all fun dancing around with daisies or whatever. And almost immediately he's like, he snaps out of it. He's like, oh, I had a nightmare sequence where I thought that, everyone I've loved, I've killed. Like I've, led to their death by being, the guy I am. Should I change? I've literally on the phone with Starlight, and I could change right now. I could grow as a character. And then Butcher just goes, hey, yeah, Huey, let's do V again and kill ourselves and hopefully kill Homelander, but you might die. He doesn't tell him that, of course, so I don't know. It's like it makes sense of the character, but it's incredibly frustrating. It's really disappointing, but it felt like inevitable. So I don't know. I think that is good writing. It's not kind of frustrating because it's bad writing. I just found it really frustrating. It's such a character flaw for his self-destructive kind of personality, but it's very entertaining. And I mean, I don't think I have like 100% like confirmation in my mind that they won't do V again and die. I think that would be an insane way to kill one of them. Hell, maybe that's how they're going to kill Huey. But I feel like even though this is a show where people are dying left, right, and center, it's very crazy, very gory, all the things, all the boys, blah, blah, blah. The idea of Butcher and Huey dying, I don't really see that happening until they confirm it's their last season, and then sure, maybe that could happen. But yeah, until that point, I really kind of feel like at least those two guys are the most like safe that anyone could be in the show. But that being said, Butcher doesn't know he's in a show, so he's not going, well, we're actually immortal, Huey, because we're the main two characters. So, he doesn't know that he has that plot armor. So yeah, absolute dick move. So this week, The Deep tries to spice up his sex life by introducing the hero-gasm octopus into the bedroom with his wife, and it goes about as well as you'd expect, and she, freaks out, because of course she does, because she's not an aquatic-based superhero that wants to have sex with fish, or octopi. A crazy scene. I really didn't expect so much aquatic-based sex with the Deep this season, and I couldn't be happier. I love it. It's so funny. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. It's so crazy. I don't know. It's just like, I love how it's like absurd and insane, but he doesn't play it in this crazy way. Like, he's just like, oh, maybe we should spice up our sex life. Like, I don't know. I've got someone. Oh, yeah, I have been thinking of someone. I've got someone in mind. And then he just brings out the octopus. The octopus is having sex with him, and she's just sitting there being like, oh my god. And she's like, how many times have you had sex with the octopus behind my back? How many times have you cheated on me? And he just doesn't have a response, because presumably a lot, all the time, I have to imagine. It's crazy. It's just played like a usual guy cheating on girlfriend scene and bringing them to bed kind of scene, but the third party is an octopus, and he truly seems to care for the octopus. Like, he gets angry that she calls it a nit. Utterly delightful in the most absurd, horrific way possible. I don't know. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I don't know. I love the Deep. It's such a weird character. They've really gone just so far into the character. And like season 2, I thought with the cult stuff was really fascinating, really interesting. And now this season, he's kind of like coming into his own sexually, which means, he's having sex with octopuses. Which is just a crazy thing, considering what happened in Season 1, Episode 1, for the Deep, and what he really started as, and to where they've taken him. It's been a wild, crazy journey. Like going down a big water slide, or something. No, I don't know. Something like that. Pick a metaphor that's better than that. And that's what it is. So Black Noir finally gets some character development, and some character. I mean, he's been a pretty blank slate for a lot of it. At least this mindless, faceless assassin man for the Vought Company. And we did get a flashback earlier, in the past, where we saw him without his mask on. But because that's different from the spoiler I'd heard from the comics, like the only thing I knew, and I won't say it here because I don't want to spoil it in case someone's going to read the comics, but it's different. It's quite different, and that was the only spoiler I knew before the show started. I don't know, I can't even remember who ruined it for me, but I was always like excited to see that. But what they've done here, and kind of tying it into Soulja Boy so kind of, I don't know, tightly, and like kind of having him so closely connected to Soulja Boy, having him betrayed Soulja Boy, and then Soulja Boy mushes his brain. Really interesting, really fascinating. I love how kind of integral Soulja Boy has become. I really thought when they announced Dean Winchester, he's going to be Soulja Boy, and I was like, yay, Dean Winchester, that's sick, Soulja Boy. And I'd heard he's kind of a Captain America type, he's got a shield and whatever. But he's like, he's Homelander's dad, and he was betrayed by Black Noir. He made Black Noir like not able to speak and maybe think properly. Like, it's hard really to gauge because he's got no face. But we also got some totally kind of like the Mandalorian kind of acting in this episode, more so than I feel like we've ever got. Like, sometimes I feel like when you see him, the faceless mask, I'm not feeling like I'm projecting that much. But when he has his, character development with the help of little CGI animals everywhere, which was insane. When that started happening at first, I lost my mind. I'm like, oh my god, we're Roger Rabbiting this shit. This is crazy. Like, this is wild stuff. Or Chip and Daling, if you've seen that movie. It's actually good. I liked it. It has a very violent, cartoonish, flashback reveal kind of situation. And it turns out Black Noir was kind of the main guy who, turned against Soulja Boy. And I'm now just suddenly realizing, hopefully, because Homelander and Soulja Boy are hopefully going to be friends and family now, those two fighting Black Noir, I think that would be really exciting. But maybe Black Noir's not strong enough to do that. So when all the animals are doing like the cartoon kind of, flashback or whatever, and it's all violent and crazy, every time it kept coming back to Black Noir, I felt like I was getting so much from the character. Like, the way the character would just move its head, sit forwards, lean back. Just, I don't know. Very Mandalorian, where I'm like, oh my god, I'm reading so much expression off this guy's face. Clearly, I'm just projecting. I presume everyone else was projecting. And it was an amazing scene. I feel like just the way they lit him was so moody and atmospheric. And then suddenly just like cutting away from, and there's like, no cartoon animals. And he's just sitting there alone. Really, really good stuff. easily my favorite Black Noir scene so far. He's easily been the least developed character out of all the 7 and probably all the characters entirely. I've always kind of liked the idea of him. Like, he's the Batman character, but he's essentially just like a silent assassin. Not even really Batman, really, but I always kind of just put him as the Batman because no one else could be the Batman in the 7. But yeah, I really like this episode for his character development, for his introspective, moments, to really flesh him out as a character. And it did confirm that everything we saw back then was, it was in fact this Black Noir. Just because of the comic stuff, I was kind of thinking maybe that was a flashback and maybe this would be a second Black Noir. But that turns out to not be the case at all. So this is actually the second kind of character development we've got. But yeah, I don't know. Really, really like it. So Frenchie and Kamiko, they're back from their little side adventure, and she's like, "Give me back my powers because I love Frenchie, and we're family." That kiss was weird because we're family, and I wasn't sure how to read that. Is she like friend zoning him, but family zoning him? Like, is she saying, "I love you like a brother. Don't ever kiss me again. None of this Star Wars brother stuff. I know that's gross." Or is she saying we're family, but also I'm gonna kiss you later when I have superpowers again? I don't know. I wasn't sure how to read that. But, cool, she's going to get powers again and be immortal. Fun, I guess. I kind of think the only good thing about their side quest was that there were stakes, because maybe she could die. Her and Frenchie are still easily, I think, the weakest link. But they're back together with the boys, and they're all like, "We gotta stop Butcher." And Mother's Milk is like, "I gotta stop Butcher and punch my daughter's stepdad, or just that guy that hangs around with my daughter, and punch him in the face, because he went to a Homelander rally." I don't know. Kind of nothing on those guys' fronts. Starlight is like, "Huey doesn't want to be saved, but I'm going to save him." Sure. Oh, actually, one thing about Starlight that I thought was really great is that last episode ended and she's like, I've just dobbed in Homelander and he's a mean man. He's bad. And then Homelander's like, "She's lying. I'm cool." And everyone's like, we agree with you, Homelander." Why didn't I think that was going to happen? Of course that was going to happen. And then Ashley's on the news and she's like, "Actually, she's like trafficking children and she's actually the worst." Of course they would do a spin on it. She's the spin doctor. And of course, a lot of idiot people in the streets are just going to be like, "Yeah, I believe Homelander. Superman." Like, why would I not believe the Superman of our world? So yeah, I don't know. I really love that. That was such a brilliant way to just kind of flip the last episode, which felt like a can't come back from this. And then Homelander, he does a big speech with Starlight and she's filming him and all that stuff. But I still think there's those people who are just going to believe him regardless of what he says and what he gets caught saying, until there's a moment of him doing something truly horrific. I do wonder, because even if he said like, "Oh, like I'd kill Supersonic," the Harry Styles guy, and all that stuff, I still think you need to have him actually do something horrific. So I think, maybe Maeve, I think this would kind of be an interesting kind of, because Maeve feels very self-sacrificial at this point. Like, she feels like, she's like, "This is my 3 happiest days, being in prison, because you're scared." I think if she sacrificed herself and had him kill her in a big public space, to just truly show everyone how horrible he is, to change their minds, something like that I think is very, very possible. But yeah, just an amazing episode all around. I'm loving this show so much. So my last note is Huey tried to, help Mind's melty man, get out of it. They get all naked. He's like, "Let's get changed together and be friends and save Butcher and I'll save you." Then arrow or throwing knife or something goes through his face. So, Huey was just too slow to get him out of there. But he completely abandoned the idea that he's going to help Soulja Boy just because he found out Soulja Boy was full of shit. Even though I feel like maybe he kind of presumed that anyway, just the way Soulja Boy's been acting, getting high all the time, he's getting all paranoid and freaky. So I don't know, it just felt like a very quick 180 for Huey to be like, "Actually, I betrayed everyone, we blew all those soups up at the Herogasm thing, but actually I've changed my mind right now. Soulja Boy, he lied about fighting in the war." I mean, that's a pretty big thing to lie about, I suppose. But I don't know. It just felt like a very quick 180 to get Huey back on the side where when Starlight saves him, he's like, "Actually, I've changed my ways." But then again, he kind of flips back again. He's like, "Actually, Bushy, let's keep going to kill Homelander." I don't know. I feel like kind of flip-flop there. He's just very lucky that Soulja Boy found out that he was a father, because I feel like he would have just, killed Huey instead of punching him real hard. So, I don't know, I just think he was very, very lucky for his little betrayal to Soulja Boy, that it came at a moment of, of the moment of his realization of parenthood. So just very lucky, Huey. Very lucky. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I would love to know what everyone thought of The Boys Episode 7!